So last year there were a few select films coming out in the fall that appeared to be guaranteed awards contenders. The first was The Fabelmans, the semi-autobiographical drama from Steven Spielberg. The film won the Audience Prize at the Toronto Film Festival, then went on to win Best Picture and Best Director at the Golden Globes, and it received 7 Oscar nominations, including Picture, Director, Actress, and Supporting Actor. Another film that had a lot of awards buzz going into the fall festivals was The Banshees of Inisherin, which was a hit with critics and audiences, won prizes at the Golden Globes and BAFTA, and received 9 Oscar nods total. I was excited early on for Tar and Women Talking, 2 films with great actors and directors that did end up taking some prizes during the 2023 award season. I also predicted Damien Chazelle's Babylon would be a notable awards player, with its dynamite cast, acclaimed director, 3-hour running time, late December release, and golden age of Hollywood storyline. Well, guess I was wrong about that one. If you had told me last summer that Babylon was only going to get 3 technical nominations at the Oscars and win none of them, I would have been shocked. But the movie bombed at the box office, did only so-so with critics, and ultimately didn't make much of a dent at the end of award season. I'm not sure if I would call Babylon an Oscar fiasco, although I'd love to make a video down the road assessing what exactly went wrong with a movie I think is fantastic. No, one of the biggest Oscar fiascos easily this past award season was a film I predicted last August would be one of the 3 biggest contenders come awards time, and likely one of my favorite films of 2022, Empire of Light. This film had everything going for it. A movie about the love of movies and movie theaters. It was directed by Sam Mendes, one of my favorite directors. It stars Oscar winner Olivia Colman in the lead role, and Oscar winner Colin Firth in a supporting role. The amazing Roger Deakins shot it. It played the festival circuit in September and then opened in theaters in December, right when all the awards voting was getting started. On paper, this movie had everything, and Empire of Light looked primed to be a huge awards player in technical categories, acting categories, screenplay, director, picture. I thought going into the fall that it might even win the whole damn thing, or at least give The Fabelmans some competition, but then a funny thing happened on the way to the Oscars. Empire of Light failed spectacularly. The movie landed with mostly a thud at those early festivals, and by the time Empire of Light finally reached theaters, the buzz around it was so abysmal that almost nobody turned out to see it. The film did get a few nominations throughout award season, including 1 Oscar nod that we'll definitely talk about, but yeah, with all the massive expectations surrounding Empire of Light for months, the film turned out to be nothing short of a disaster. Welcome to my new series, Oscar Fiasco, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. This isn't Oscar Omissions. That's a series I intend to pick up again soon about movies that are great and that should have gotten into the Academy Awards. Films like Pearl, The Woman King, She Said, Nope. Oscar Fiasco is a new series about movies that were expected to be great, were practically designed to be major awards contenders, and then flopped big time. There's certainly a few titles from last year we can talk about. Remember The Sun, starring Hugh Jackman? That crashed and burned. Or how about the greatest beer run ever from Oscar-winning Green Book director Peter Farrelly? Yeah, didn't think so. I could also explore the failure of Babylon, a movie I liked more than others. But for now, sit back, relax. In my first Oscar Fiasco video, we're talking everything that went wrong with Empire of Light. To start, let's go back to the project's beginnings. Empire of Light was announced in April 2021 as a film both written and directed by Sam Mendes, and while he was penning the screenplay during the COVID lockdown, he had love of cinema and movie theaters on the mind. He discussed his reasoning for making the movie in the Variety studio at the Toronto Film Festival.
Well, it's not really just an ode to movie making. It's movie watching, movie showing, going to the movies. I think we all, when we were in lockdown and in COVID, fearing that this would go forever, that we would never be in this situation again, being able to go through a wonderful ritual like Toronto Film Festival and seeing all these movies and just being able to sit with people in the dark and be taken on an adventure, you know.
According to the film's producer, Pippa Harris, this was the first time Sam Mendes had written a screenplay completely on his own. He thought about Olivia Colman for his leading lady after he watched The Crown on Netflix, and her casting was personal to Mendes because the character was based on someone very close to him, as he discussed in an early Q&A.
It's personal without being autobiographical, which is quite a difficult thing to explain, you know. The main part of it that's personal is the journey of Olivia's character, Hilary, is loosely based on the journey of my mother, which is a journey through mental disintegration.
After Colman was confirmed, Michael Ward, Colin Firth, and Toby Jones joined the cast. The legendary Roger Deakins signed on as cinematographer, and Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross came aboard to compose the score. Empire of Light tells the story of a movie theater manager, Hilary, played by Colman, who's struggling with her mental health and becomes involved with a new employee at the theater named Stephen, played by Ward, who wants to escape his small town. They find a connection as they navigate the healing power of music, cinema, and community.
The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let him die.
Nice.
Tennyson.
Early set pictures showed promise, with all the period detail, Colman looking like she was going to sink her teeth into another compelling character. And when the film was announced to play at the Telluride Film Festival and the Toronto Film Festival in September, my hopes were sky high. When I made my first Oscar predictions video of the recent award season in August 2022, Empire of Light ranked near the top of my list of contenders. This is what I said. So I think that gets in for picture, director, probably best actress for Olivia Colman, because what's a year at the Oscars without her being nominated somewhere? Now, before we get to the fiasco of it all, let's break down the reasons why Empire of Light was expected to be such a major awards player. The first reason was Sam Mendes. Anytime this man directs a film, Oscar buzz follows. His career in film started really strong with American Beauty, one of the most acclaimed and talked about films of 1999. It went on to win 5 Academy Awards, including Best Actor, Best Picture, and Best Director.
Finally, I'd like to say thank you to a personal hero of mine who was a big influence on this movie. I want to say thank you to Billy Wilder, and I want to say to him, if my career after this point amounts to 1/10 of what yours has been, I will be a very happy man.
Not many people win the Best Director Oscar for their first movie. It's only happened a handful of times, most famously with actors like Robert Redford for Ordinary People and Kevin Costner for Dances with Wolves, but it happened to Mendes in 2000 for American Beauty, and thus, we've paid attention to his follow-ups ever since. He's never had Oscar success quite like American Beauty, but his sophomore effort, Road to Perdition, was well liked and won the Academy Award for Best Cinematography. Skyfall overperformed with 5 nominations and won Sound Editing and Best Original Song. The film Mendes made before Empire of Light was 1917, which at the beginning of the 2020 award season was the movie to beat, an absorbing World War I story told through the appearance of one unbroken shot. It won Best Director and Best Picture at the Golden Globes, and then Mendes took almost every director prize on the way to the Oscars, where he lost to Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. 1917 came the closest to the award success Mendes had achieved with American Beauty, but even though some of his other movies fell short at the Academy Awards, Revolutionary Road from 2008, a film I just talked about in my Kate Winslet vs. Meryl Streep Oscar retrospective video, comes to mind, nothing has reached the level of Oscar Fiasco quite like Empire of Light, as we'll get into shortly. The second reason the film was expected to be an awards contender was Olivia Colman, of course, who has been on fire lately when it comes to award wins and nominations. The road began at the 2019 Oscars when she famously beat out the insanely overdue Glenn Close to win the Best Actress Academy Award for The Favorite. Her glorious speech would become an instant all-timer.
My kids are at home and watching, look! Well, if you're not, then well done, but I sort of hope you are. This is not going to happen again.
In the years since that moment, Colman has picked up 2 additional Oscar nominations in Best Supporting Actress for The Father and in Best Actress for The Lost Daughter. In addition, she won the Primetime Emmy Award for Lead Actress in a Drama Series for The Crown. Her taste in material has been extraordinary, and her joining Sam Mendes for a new movie seemed like it would be a dream collaboration.
You've already been in the conversation around your performance. Is awards buzz something that you pay attention to, or where do you keep your Oscar?
He lives in a cupboard.
because I'm a little bit embarrassed if people come around. I don't want it to look like, you know, who do you think she is? I don't know. So it's really just for me, every now and then, if no one's looking, I'll go, hi.
The third reason was the cinematographer Roger Deakins, who, like Colman, has been choosing excellent material as of late. His collaboration with Sam Mendes has gone back a few movies, so that friendship obviously was a factor in him signing on to Empire of Light, but just look at some of the films he shot in the last decade. Prisoners, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049 finally won him the Oscar.
You know, I really love my job. I've been doing it a long time, as you can see.
In 1917, won him his second Oscar.
They would all want me to say, thank you, Sam Mendes, for the most wonderful experience. Thank you. We'll never forget it.
The only real turkey on his resume of the last few years is 2019's The Goldfinch, which I'll absolutely have to do an Oscar Fiasco video about at some point, by the way. But usually his touch on a movie signifies greatness. The fourth reason was Empire of Light's historical setting and subject matter, which seemed like catnip for the Academy and for movie buffs all around the world. Much of the setting is a movie theater, a giant cinema house of old we rarely come across anymore, and Mendes infuses many of these scenes with a loving, nostalgic tone based on his own childhood. There's the moment where Hillary sits in a theater all by herself and weeps as she watches a film. There's the walking upstairs to rooms in the theater that have long since been abandoned. There's Toby Jones talking about a film projector, what it means, how it works. Empire of Light is clearly a personal story to Mendes he hoped would come through in a lot of these scenes. And the fifth reason was Empire of Light ended up being screened at two high-profile film festivals, Telluride and Toronto, which are usually the first two stops for movies that go on to win and be nominated for Academy Awards. If Empire of Light had skipped the festival circuit and had been dumped into theaters in mid-September, let's say, we would have assumed the worst. But no, this one played the long game, getting exclusive screenings and early reviews at the festivals before eventually hitting theaters 3 months later in December. That's the kind of release strategy studios use for films that they're confident in, not something that's going to flop with critics and audiences and is going to die a quick death at the box office. But that's exactly what happened with Empire of Light when it finally reached theaters. Not that it was entirely unexpected. The initial reviews out of Telluride and Toronto for the film were mixed at best, unlike The Fabelmans, which also celebrates cinema but received rave reviews out of Toronto. Empire of Light got only tepid praise among some rather scathing pieces of film criticism. David Ehrlich in IndieWire said, "It's wonderful that Sam Mendes spent the pandemic making a movie about the irreplaceable vitality of movie theaters. It would have been even better if he spent the pandemic making a movie worth seeing in one." Barry Hertz in Globe and Mail said, "There's a certain odor wafting out of the film that approximates the stomach-churning scent of scalding, rancid butter ladled atop stale popcorn." Film critics Christy Lemire and Alonso Duralde were pretty mixed about the film at Breakfast All Day.
So I'm saying 5. There was a whole lot of potential here.
Yeah, I said 5.5. I liked looking at it. You know, I think there's a great coffee table book to be made here, but not a movie, unfortunately.
Mark Kermode pinned the nail on the head at the beginning of his review.
Empire of Light feels to me like 5 different films. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it means is there is a lot of stuff going on, and some of it I like and some of it not so much.
And Brother Bro, at the end of the Oscar experts review of Empire of Light, didn't exactly mince words.
You know, I was just kind of bored. That's why it's 5 for me. I was like, this is fine, this is okay, like the whole time.
These weren't exactly the kind of pull quotes Sam Mendes and Searchlight Pictures were hoping for. Sure, some critics liked or loved it, like Peter Bradshaw and Guardian, but most positive reviews were lukewarm at best. Things didn't get any better when the film opened on December 9th. Sadly for Mendes, I'm sure, Empire of Light sat mostly empty in movie theaters all across the US. It crashed hard its opening weekend when it made only $163,000 on 110 screens, which equates to only a $1,500 per screen average. I remember when Empire of Light finally came to my city of Reno, Nevada over the Christmas holiday. As a huge Sam Mendes and Olivia Colman fan, I was eager to see it, and then I couldn't believe my eyes when I went on to Fandango to buy my ticket. For 1 week in Reno, Empire of Light played at one theater, only one time of day, 10:10 a.m. That was it. No afternoon screenings, nothing at night, If I wanted to see Empire of Light in a theater the way Sam Mendes intended, I was going to have to drag my ass out of bed, drive across town, and see this movie at 10 in the morning. It's probably not a spoiler alert to tell you I didn't see this one in a theater. By the time Empire of Light left cinemas at the end of January, it had earned only $1.7 million in the US and about $10 million worldwide. Low box office never helps a movie during award season, and that flop status paired with mixed, tilting toward negative reviews put Empire of Light out to pasture pretty quickly. Still, before award season was said and done, the film did make it into some of the precursor ceremonies. Olivia Colman got the nomination at the Golden Globes for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama over, by the way, Danielle Deadwyler in Till, which infuriated me and quite a few others at the time. Surprising to no one, Colman didn't even attend the ceremony in January, her not having the slightest chance in hell of winning. The film received 3 BAFTA nominations, including Best Supporting Actor for Michael Ward and Best British Film of the Year, and yes, it did get 1 Oscar nomination, Best Cinematography, for Roger Deakins. Can I really call Empire of Light an Oscar fiasco if it actually made it in at the Oscars? Absolutely yes, because, let's be honest, he was always going to get the nod for this, regardless of the film's quality. Deakins has been nominated for almost every film he shot in the last 15 years, and I think this was a polite gesture from the cinematographer's branch of the Academy to a god of his craft. There is, of course, nothing wrong with Deakins' cinematography in Empire of Light. It's lovely, it's fine, but for this film in this category to take the place of Top Gun Maverick, Nope, Pearl, Babylon, Decision to Leave, or The Batman, just to name a few, is kind of ridiculous. Deakins got in here, I believe, based mostly on his name and all the incredible films he shot throughout the decades. But the main reason I would call Empire of Light an Oscar fiasco is that it was designed to be an awards juggernaut, a film destined for, at minimum, Best Actress for Olivia Colman and Best Picture. We've seen mediocre movies make it into top categories all the time, being the Ricardos got 3 acting nominations, including 1 for J.K. Simmons in Supporting Actor, remember that? Jessica Chastain won the Best Actress Oscar last year for a movie that people, at best, liked, sort of. For both Sam Mendes and Olivia Colman to miss on Oscar nominations morning earlier this year for a serious historical drama that celebrates the movies, that got lots of play on the festival circuit, that opened in theaters in December, is sort of mind-boggling. Like, this movie had to be really bad for that to happen. Is it as awful as they say? I'm not sure if you've seen the film or not, but yeah, it's kinda rough. I finally watched Empire of Light when it dropped onto HBO Max in February, and within the opening scenes I realized something was amiss. The movie just sits there. The screenplay tries to do too much, the tone of the film is all over the place. Olivia Colman gives the central performance her all, she's not the problem, but the relationships in the film never really ring true, and there's just not a strong enough narrative to maintain your interest. I wanted to love Empire of Light. I tried to avoid the negativity, I put the movie on with an open mind. I've loved most of Sam Mendes' work, only Spectre falling short for me until now, but Empire of Light is his most heartbreaking blunder, and frankly, a major disappointment. With a sharper, wittier screenplay with more three-dimensional characters, this could have been a movie for the ages. There is a nugget of an idea here that could have made a great film, I believe that. As I said before, on paper, everything looked exciting about this project and this premise, but ultimately, the execution, for the most part, is all wrong. Here's hoping Sam Mendes learns from his mistakes on Empire of Light, and maybe works with another screenwriter too, and gives us another movie in the years to come that's worthy of his talent. He's a gifted filmmaker who with the right material can truly soar. For now, let's put Empire of Light in the rearview mirror where it's going to remain always an Oscar fiasco. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below, what's another movie you'd love to see an Oscar Fiasco video about? Would you be interested in me doing one about The Sun, starring Hugh Jackman? We'll see you next time.